everyone, we are now live. We're so excited to begin our second day here at our open mic. We are just going to go over the schedule a little bit and then debrief about the amazing stuff that we did yesterday. Just give me a moment here. Okay, here's our schedule for today. We're going to start off now with some amazing stuff from Matt Newman, and then we're going to go into a lecture from Dr. Kavitha, who is an oncologist from India. We have a presentation from Maryam Maisha, a break as usual, and then we're going to have our last interview with Rory Zura. It's going to be a really exciting day full of amazing lectures and experiences for us to listen and learn about and make reflections on our own life. And yesterday was an amazing experience for all of us. We really were able to listen to a wide variety of stories, whether that be from personal experiences, medical professionals, and even authors who were able to write down their stories and publish it to share it with the world. Overall, we just had some amazing life lessons in there to help support ourselves through this journey, as well as helping to support all of our family members who have issues regarding cancer, mental health, or both together. Dina, anything to add?
No, pretty much that's it.
Yeah. So we actually have a new host today. Instead of Priya, we have Dina, and she's the head of our events team at Cancer Together, and she's going to be with us for the morning section of today, which is from now all the way until 4:30 BST, and that is around 2.5 hours from now, wherever you're at. And she's going to be helping us the entire day with interviews and hosts and all that interesting stuff. One last thing before we start with Matt Newman is we're going to explain Slido. So Slido is going to be where all the audience members can put anything that they want to add, including questions, comments, concerns, and interacting with us and the speaker. The code would have been available if you're on our email list from yesterday. If not, the code is 227532. Please join in on there so that we can see all your wonderful responses to today's event. And with that, we're going to start waiting for Matt Newman, and he has an amazing story to share with us. In the meantime, why don't we try to talk about some interesting things with cancer? I have actually been recently researching a paper that I've been doing in my free time about cancer and Alzheimer's disease. And there's this really interesting correlation that most people don't recognize, which is in fact, cancer and Alzheimer's disease have an inverse relationship. And it's quite counterintuitive because, at least personally, when I think of cancer, you imagine the stress with invasive treatments, increased drug use in general, just the stress from diagnosis and everything with that. But in fact, due to various reasons that actually aren't that known yet, Alzheimer's and cancer have consistently been shown to have an inverse relationship, which basically means that people with cancer have a lower risk of getting Alzheimer's and vice versa. Patients who have Alzheimer's disease are less likely to be diagnosed with cancer. And there have been so many studies. Actually, one thing that I found really interesting is that one of the first studies was done in Japan to understand and to analyze the risk factors for survivors of the atomic bomb in Hiroshima, which is a cool connection and interesting start to the research that's going on today. And there are various enzymes that I was lucky enough to learn about through my research, including one called the PIN1, which impacts the amyloid buildup, which then changes the risk for dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And it also affects various proteins and tumor suppressors for cancer, which then really changes that relationship between the two conditions. So yeah, that's a little bit that I've been doing. with my free time and cancer. Tina, do you have anything to share maybe with cancer?
Right off the bat, in regards to your research, I thought it's really interesting. Like you wouldn't expect there to be like a cross connection between cancer and Alzheimer's, and that little tidbit about the atomic bomb was really interesting to learn about.
Yeah, it's super fascinating because I think it's not a relationship that a lot of people come by, because when you think cancer is always associated with an increased risk for some sort of mental health issues. And of course, Alzheimer's disease isn't necessarily depression, but a lot of times depression is a risk factor for Alzheimer's disease, which, yeah, that's super interesting. Actually, Dina, she is part of the events team at our organization. So she's been doing some really interesting stuff with educational videos, which is actually available on our YouTube channel for everyone to check out. But Tina, why don't you give us a little summary of that project?
All right, so every few weeks we come out with new videos about different topics about cancer in regards to science, whether it's from anything in regards to how cancer occurs, like with the cell cycle and whatnot, to anything involving different treatment options and get expanding on those different options to give a spotlight and learn more about it, just other than just knowing that these are some of the common different types of cancer treatments and whatnot, and possibly in the future talking about how diagnoses occur and different types of tests that occur when during testing, like during like biopsies and CT scans and whatnot. So in essence, we just cover a lot of topics in regards to science and cancer that a lot of people don't know about to help people learn more about cancer, other than just like the symptoms and whatnot that people seem to associate with cancer.
Yeah, and all of these have been child friendly created. So we have cool, interesting games associated with them on Kahoot, and Quiz, I think, is the name of the other platform we use. And just some really interesting topics like metastasis, we have the cell cycle, we have various treatments, and also the difference between benign and malignant tumors, which are really important concepts to understand when we're dealing with cancer. And yeah, so some really interesting stuff going down here at Cancer Together. We don't have Ananya with us right now, but she is another part of our team, and she's been creating Girl Power videos, which are actually super interesting because, of course, they're educational, which is always important for us here at Cancer Together, but they have another really important part, which is supporting women. And it actually started for Women's Month, but we just love the topic, so we kept it going. And it's various scientists, researchers, and just leaders in the community of cancer awareness who are women and making some sort of change. And there are so many people that we definitely recommend you check out to understand how pivotal of a role women actually have in this industry. And it's often overlooked because we think of just the medicine and we don't really try to think about who was behind all of that research and who drove it. And instinctively, unfortunately, we usually think of men when in fact there are so many women who are driving this change to help people around the world, which is some really amazing stuff. And yeah, really fun videos. As Matt is not here yet, we're gonna give ourselves a little break and we will come back at our next slot for our speaker, which will be, if I just check the schedule here, that will be at 3 o'clock. If Matt does figure out his technological issues, we will try to be back as soon as possible. So stay on our YouTube channel and keep an eye out for that.